So here is an example of that. Fiber direction and stacking sequence designed for bicycle frame made of carbon epoxy composite laminate. This is just to show how the things that we are learning is going to help later. Okay, so as you see, this is a publication, so it has an introduction which we already know what is a composite is, all those. Okay, so what is the main purpose of using a composite material for bicycle? What will be the reason? Why do you go for the composite material bicycle? The main reason is to reduce the weight. Okay, so for the purpose of reducing weight,
the weight and strength.
Yeah, the strength has to be improved, and so high strength to weight ratio. Okay, so the carbon epoxy materials are now widely used to make the bicycle frames. Okay, so an example of the carbon epoxy bicycle frame only weighs 1.36 kg, which is much less than the 5 kg weight of the corresponding steel frame. Okay, this is about the frame. If you're comparing the weight of a carbon epoxy cycle, it is 1.36 kg, whereas a steel frame weighs 5 kg. So that's the weight reduction that you're getting. Okay. But in the design process of the bicycle, the structural analysis of the frame or other parts is a very important stage. Okay, so the structural analysis becomes important, and I'll just run through this. So what they have done here, if you look at the diagram over here, you see how many plies are there? 8 plies are there. Okay, so this is a tube. Okay, the frame tube. Okay, 8 ply laminated tube, meaning what? You have 8 plies of fiber, 8 layers of fiber and the epoxy. Okay, so everything oriented in a different direction. You see theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, theta 4, and then the symmetric of that theta 4, theta 3, theta 2, theta 1. Okay, so in this orientation, this has been designed. Okay, what is this? You must have seen this thing. What does this say? What does this say? What does this say? This thing over here.
Generally art.
Yeah. So you see the x and y axis. This is the global axis, and 1 and 2 is the material axis. Okay, and theta is the angle between the x and the 1. Okay, 1 is the direction of the fiber. You see the direction of the fiber shown. So that is the direction of fiber. So thickness of each ply is 0.3 mm. Okay, so thickness of each ply is 0.3 mm he has taken. So 8 into 8 plies it is 8 plies. So multiplied by each thickness. So what they have done, stacking sequence of laminates in this study. Okay, so they are going for different options. Okay, they need to arrive at the best fiber orientation and the stacking sequence. Okay, so for that they do this for different cases and look at the stresses. Okay, so we'll deal with these things a little later, but what I just wanted to show you was how, because we were just dealing with the lamina. Okay, when it comes to laminate, what are the things that you can do is an example over here, so that you get the bigger picture. Okay, so otherwise you don't know what you're doing, just stress strain, you'll not understand many things. So I just wanted to give you an idea of how the cycle frame tube is having 8 plies of different orientations and how this is being analyzed. Okay, so everything is macro mechanics over here that is being applied, and you see, yeah, this is the stress matrix. What is this matrix called? What is this matrix?
And
Sorry?
Compliance matrix.
compliance
Matrix. Is this compliance matrix?
Stiffness, sir.
This is stiffness matrix. Okay, it's in
Yes, sir.
dimensional. So this is stiffness matrix. And then you have the, you see, the compliance matrix is inverse of the stiffness matrix. Okay, so all these we have looked at basically. So the compliance matrix S is inverse of the C. Okay, inverse of the stiffness matrix. Fine. So this is the reason why I said, okay, stiffness, though this is stiffness matrix, we use the letter C, okay, because that is what globally everybody does. Okay, if any country you go, any book you read, so this is how it is followed. Okay, so that is why we use the same letters so that you understand these things. There's no confusion with those things. Okay. So you have different failure theories for the composites as well that we'll discuss a little later stage. So basically what I'm trying to show you is they do different testing on this, like they apply different kinds of loads and arrive at the optimal stacking sequence and the orientations. Okay, so you have the better and bad designs from 33 cases. Okay, so they have oriented in different directions and different sequences. Okay, so and then there is a discussion on this. So according to some theories, so if you see, these are bad designs, okay, unidirectional laminates, all with zero angles, all plies having zero angles. This S means symmetric, okay. So there are 8 plies. This is 4 into the symmetric is another 4, okay. So it is 8 plies. Because there is a S there is a symmetric. So this is a convention. We'll discuss these things a little later, but these are 4 into 2, okay. So all having 0 angle is also bad. All having 90 is also bad. All having 45 degrees is also bad. All having minus 45 degrees are also bad, okay. It cannot be used in the composite bicycle frames to resist the external loads from different directions. So this is one of the analysis what they have done, and the stacking sequence 0, 90, 90, 0. Okay, these are angles. Okay, 0 degree, 90 degree, 90 degree, 0 degree, and then the symmetric of that will be 0, 90, 90, 0. Okay, and then this one 0, 90, 45, minus 45, and the symmetric is minus 45, 45, 90, and 0 are the good designs for composite bicycle frames. Okay, after some analysis, they have arrived at these two fiber orientations and the sequences to be good designs, and these are bad designs for the bicycle frame. Okay, so we know what kind of loads get applied with the on the bicycle frame. So you apply those loads and try to understand how the laminate is performing. Okay, so what kind of stresses it is able to withstand, and based on that you arrive at an optimal value. Okay, this is a optimization. This is a process of optimization, arriving at a better fiber direction and stacking sequence. Okay, I hope this paper is giving you a better idea of what we are trying to do. Okay, so we have not reached this stage yet. We are still in the macro mechanics of a lamina, but just to give you a better picture of what we are trying to do. Okay, still we are dealing with only one ply. Okay, we are dealing with only one ply. We have not gone to the macro mechanics of a laminate. Okay, so we are only dealing with one ply.
Oh.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir. So in this case, the laminate is first made and then it is converted into a tube, or it is directly made in the form of a tube, sir.
Okay, you're talking fabrication process.
Okay.
You're talking about the fabrication process. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This-
So I was saying like the laminate is made directly in the form of a tube, or first a sheet is made and then it is rolled into a tube.
It will be directly made into a tube.
Okay.
Okay, but fabrication processes we'll discuss. It's there in the separate module. How to fabricate plates, how to fabricate these kind of tubes. Okay, so these things we will discuss. But for your question, it can be directly made like this. Okay, it can be directly made as a tube. You don't have to make it as a plate. Okay, but manufacturing methods we will discuss a little later. Did I answer the question at least partly? Hello? Did I answer that question? Okay, then answer there. Fine. So this is just to give you an idea of what we will be doing at a later stage. Okay, maybe after 2 weeks of classes, we will be going and analyzing some of the laminates. Okay, so these are this is a laminate. Okay, it's not necessary that it has to be flat only to call it as a laminate. It's a laminated tube. Okay, so it has 8 plies in it and all at different angles. So this is what we are trying to do, and we are still in the process of understanding macro mechanics of a lamina. I hope you have got the some understanding of what we are trying to do. Okay, so coming back to the PPT. Okay, so where were we? So we'll just, yeah. This one we said there are 2 types, specially orthotropic and generally orthotropic. Specially orthotropic is the angle aligned at 0 and 90 degree to the direction of the stresses x and y axis. So if it's at any other angle, then it is generally orthotropic. So the meaning of this is if you apply extensional stress, it should give only extensional strain. It should not give you any shear strain. Okay. If you take the example of a generally orthotropic material, if you apply extensional stress, there will be extensional strain as well as shear strain. Okay. Do you understand the meaning of this? Anybody has any doubt on this? When you apply extensional stress, you get extensional strain as well as shear strain. Okay, for a generally orthotropic material. Do you understand this, or is there any doubt in this?
Sir, how we will get a shear strain?
How do we get a shear strain? So for that, see, what you do is, if you take an isotropic material, you pull it, okay, it gets only pulled, okay, it gets only pulled. But if you take a anisotropic material and if you pull it, it will also undergo shear, okay, it may also undergo bending or it may also undergo twisting. Okay, so how is this is I have to probably I'll have it in the next class with an image of or a video of how it is happening. Okay, so what I mean to say is, if you pull a material in one direction, it gets deformed in some other direction as well. Okay, there will be a shear strain effect on that. Okay, so it gets sheared off. The material experiences a shear strain when you are applying a extensional stress. Okay, you are applying only extensional stress but not shear stress. You are applying only extensional stress, but the material is experiencing shear strain. Okay, so
Okay, sir.
that's what happens in a generally orthotropic material, and
Yes, sir.
that is actually a anisotropic behavior. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
and then we discussed this 3D matrix where we said gamma 12 should always come in the last. Okay, that is in the 6th row. Okay, gamma 12 should always come in the last, that is the 6th row. And then we discussed what is a compliance matrix, and this epsilon 1, epsilon 2, gamma 12 is equal to the compliance matrix multiplied by the stress matrix. Okay, both are local matrix. Okay, both are local matrix, meaning this is 1 2 1 2. Okay, this is 1 2 1 2, meaning what we are dealing with is with the material axis. Okay, this is material axis, this is also material axis. Here again, this is reduced stiffness matrix. You use the letter Q when you are using a 2D lamina. Okay, if you are using a 3D material, then you talk about you use the letter. What is the letter you use here? C. Okay, for stiffness you use C. For reduced stiffness, and that is for a 2D lamina, you use the letter Q. Okay, you use the letter Q. Okay, so this side also it is material axis, this side also it is material axis. Okay, and then we looked at transformation matrix somewhere. Yeah, here we relate the local matrix. The material axis is on the left side, that is before the equal to, and here you have the transformation matrix, and then you have the global stresses. Okay, here you have the global stresses. Suppose you have the global stresses on the left side, then here equal to, then this will be inverse transformation matrix of this. Okay, inverse transformation you have to take and then multiply with the local stresses. Okay, this is clear. Now so you are clear with this. Now I'll do it for the strains actually. Okay, for strains there is a small change in this. Okay, I have not talked about the strings. So this will be epsilon 1, epsilon 2, gamma 12 by 2. Okay, gamma 12 by 2 is equal to the transformation matrix multiplied by epsilon x, epsilon y, and here it is gamma xy by 2. Okay, I'll just tell you what is it. Okay, now if you want the other way, it will be epsilon x epsilon y gamma xy by 2 is equal to the inverse transformation of epsilon 1 epsilon 2 gamma 1 2 by 2. Okay, now why this by 2 is mainly because of if you take the string, the normal string, then this would be the shear strain would be 2 times the normal string. Okay, so because of that, here if you have to write the other strain, then this would be by 2. Okay, so that's why there's a by 2 over here and by 2 over here. So you just need not worry too much. Here you have the stresses here, sigma 1, sigma 2, tau 1, 2, and you have the transformation matrix sigma x, sigma y, tau x, y. Okay, so here what will be the transformation matrix over here for the string? What will be this? It is the same one, okay, the one which you use for the stresses, okay, c square s square 2sc s square c square minus 2sc minus sc plus sc c square minus s square. So the same thing is going to be used over here as well. Okay, there's no change. There's no change. Only change is you put gamma 1 2 by 2 here and gamma xy by 2 here. There is some derivation associated with this, so I'm not dealing with that. So just take this directly. Take it as gamma 1 2 by 2 and take this as gamma xy by 2. And here the transformation matrix will be there. So on the left side you will have the local strains. On the right side you will have the global strains. If you have global strains on the left, then you will have an inverse transformation matrix, and then you will have the what is this local strains. Okay, so this is how you relate these things. Okay, so always transformation matrix, what it does, so we'll come from the first. Okay, so first one what we discussed was compliance. First one we discussed compliance. What did compliance do? Compliance matrix do? It related, what it related? It related strain with, it related the strain with the stress values, correct? It is a strain stress relation. Strain stress relation. What did the reduced stiffness matrix do? Reduced stiffness matrix do was it related stress and the strain. So this is epsilon. Okay, so this is stress strain relation. Stress strain relation. And then what happened? This transformation matrix, okay, this is local related with the transformation matrix with the stress with the global. Okay, so what does the transformation matrix do? It keeps the same thing on both sides. Okay, on the left side also there is stress only, on the right side also there is stress only, but only thing that it does is it transforms from the global stresses to the local stresses. Okay, if you have the global stresses here, then it is inverse transformation. Inverse transformation matrix, you get the global stresses from the local stresses. Okay, so this is what we have done basically, and we also looked at the strains. Okay, you can put the strain over here instead of stresses. So you get the local strains for the global strains and global strains for the local strains. This transformation matrix and the inverse transformation matrix will be the same for whether you're using it for the to find the stresses or to find the strains. It's not going to change. Okay, the only change what I told you was over here. Okay, you have to put this as gamma 1 2 by 2 and gamma xy by 2, and this as gamma xy by 2 and gamma 1 2 by 2. Rest all remains the same as what you have seen for the stresses. Okay, only when it comes for the strains there is some change over here. Okay, other than that, this transformation matrix is the same thing, and the inverse transformation matrix is also the same thing what you use for the stresses. The one which is defined over here, if you take this, then it is transformation. If you take the inverse of this, then it is inverse transformation. So practice these things with the MATLAB, and everybody should be able to define a matrix in MATLAB, and how to find the inverse of a matrix, how to multiply a matrix. Okay, so these things please do practice, and yeah, I hope you have got some basic idea of what we are trying to do. Any questions? Any questions before we proceed further? No doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. So in a specially orthotropic material, you get these terms as 0. Okay, Q16, Q26, Q61 and Q62 will be 0. Okay. For a specially orthotropic material, these terms will be 0. Okay, that meaning is the same. Okay, when I say these will be 0, what it means is you don't get a shear strain for extensional stress. Okay, so the meaning is the same. It is just put in the matrix form. Okay, so I hope you are able to understand these things. Suppose if it's a generally orthotropic material, okay, will these terms be 0? If suppose this is our these are the global stresses and global strains, these terms will not be 0. Okay, so if the angles, if the fiber is rotated at an angle, then these things will not be 0. We'll discuss that in the next class, and I hope you have got some idea of this. And then we looked at the MATLAB yesterday. Not this one. Just a second. Yeah. So yesterday we did this. So we found what is the compliance matrix, and then we took the inverse of that to get the reduced stiffness. And then this was given data, the global stresses were given. And then we defined the angle as cos D. D means degrees here. Okay, since you are entering 60 in degrees, so use the D there. And then this is the transformation matrix. Sorry, this is the transformation matrix. and then you're getting the local stresses from the global stresses. Okay, global stresses are known, so you are using the transformation matrix to find the local stresses.